Flex your mental faculties. The only thing that separates you from the rest in the animal kingdom is your mental faculties. The only thing about you which is human is your mind. Everything else can be found in a cat or a dog or a horse. You are your mind. Your mental faculties are found in your subconscious system, your subconscious mind. Your mental faculties are your creative faculties. They create the image of the goal that you want to pursue, whatever goal that may be. It forms the ideas, and these ideas could either be constructive or disintegrating. But you have the power within you to reason with an idea when it comes to your mind, either to entertain it or to reject it. And that's why I want to suggest this. When an idea that is not advancing you towards your goal comes to your mind, reject it as sap. Don't entertain it for any longer minute. See, our society views education in terms of grades and degrees, and none of this is an accurate measure or predictor of your true potential. You are a being of unlimited potential, created in the image of God, with the capacity to determine or to create the world that you live in. Awareness of the divine powers that you possess is the truth that sets you free. From a neuroscience perspective, the average human being uses no more than 5% of his or her brain capacity. Your mind is the only tool in your disposal with which you can access infinite wisdom and attain ultimate success. We live in an era whereby it is the mentally strong who will not only get along by, but will be able to move ahead and become prosperous. And they become prosperous because they are deliberate about their mental inputs, their thoughts. They are cautious about the ideas they entertain, the activities they engage in, and the people they interact with. You have 6 mental faculties, and all of them are equally important. And each one of them, in no particular order, if properly applied, can lead to a charmed life of imagination and creativity and happiness and progressive realization of prosperity. And my job tonight is to try to help you think through these mental faculties. Forget about all those mind training games on the internet. They just consume your money and increase your sedentary screen time. I'd like to show you a sure way of flexing your mental faculties, a way that you can trust. Now, if you miss out on what I'm going to say, you're likely to be a victim of your reptilian brain and lose control of your thoughts. But it's my hope and prayer that I can help you come to your mind's driver's seat. 6 mental faculties. The first one, reason. Reason. Reason is your mental faculty that helps you to choose what to think and what not to think. You hone your mental faculty of reason through your mental inputs. Primarily through what you see and through what you hear. The eye is the window of the soul. Whatever you subject your eyes to for a long time, it forms mental images in your mind, and then you go to pursue those mental images. If you expose yourself to explicit, dirty material, you eventually go into the real life to pursue the same. You can't consistently expose yourself to strip clubs, porn magazines, and behave in a manner that is different. Which is also true about news. Whatever you watch on news, if it's always violence and scarcity and corruption, we know there's corruption in Kenya and many countries in Africa. I hate it with all my heart. But you can pick the nuggets rather than digesting the entire news about corruption. You will fail to believe there is something good about the country. You see, most of you here watch 7 o'clock news, 9 o'clock news, 11 o'clock news, as though there's an exam tomorrow on news. And you begin to process very negative vibes. I suggest this. If you know an invalid, someone recovering at home from cancer or the so-called terminal disease, try what I'm going to tell you. There are people who took my message in its raw form, tried it, and finally gave me a testimony. Cover all their mirrors with their pictures of their heyday. Let them not see themselves on the mirror anymore. Let them see their pictures when they were looking healthy and gorgeous and great. And let them be exposed to that health self-image for 6 months as you continue to pray for them. And believe me, what causes healing is when your faith connects with God's faith. And that has to come with that picture in your mind. You know, throughout the ministry of Christ, he said, your faith has healed you. You must have that picture in your mind for the reality to happen. If you've been in a rental house for too long, I dare you tonight, look for an architect. Get your house to be drawn. Ask for 1 or 2 or 3 more copies to be hung all over. Keep seeing it. Start entertaining that image. It will eventually become your reality. If you're in a marriage that is not working, try this. Look for the pictures when you're in honeymoon. Look for pictures when you are dating. And make sure you get them in triplicate. So that once you hang the first round, and your spouse doesn't like it and burns them, you have another round to hang. Hang them all over. Have about 10 sets. Keep hanging those pictures. And let love conquer evil. It works. Remind him of the time he took you. My first out with Mercy, I was so lucky I was able to go to the beach. How many were able to take their girlfriend to the beach for the first time? Do you know which beach I took, Mercy? It is one of the best beaches on earth, Dakaini Dam. And I say it with a lot of pride, but she stayed with me until we were able to go to Mombasa beaches. Dakaini Dam, that was our first beach. And we were 4 of us, a free beach. So the young men in our midst, and those who ever listen to me, never say that you have no money to go to the beach. There's even another one in Uhuru Park. That was my first beach to go. Here is the deal. We have many good pictures, but I value those pictures of Dakaini Dam than all the other pictures we have taken overseas. Because here is a lady who believed in me when even affording a matatu was very difficult. That memory for me is more treasurable. Take care of what you hear. The ears are the gateway to your heart. Be careful who speaks into your life. Some pour out of their own bitterness. Some speak out of their own frustrations. Never forget that misery loves company. If you are single-minded, you're listening to me. If you're teaming up with other single girls who are always speaking against marriage, please get out of that company. It is poison to your bones. Hook up with people who are saying, hey, let's go to this Dr. Kenya Juinganga's thing at the Shaba. Start connecting with positive-minded people. Start spreading positive energy. There is not a single word you hear that is neutral. Words are never innocent. Words are the capacity to bless or to curse. Words will never leave you the same again. You've got to jealously safeguard what you hear, because that's what gets into your heart, out of which issues of life are released. So you hone your reason through taking care of your mental inputs. The second faculty, we call it will, W-I-L-L. Will is the mental faculty that helps you to choose one idea over the others. They may not necessarily be bad ideas. They may be all good ideas. But unless you're able to focus on one idea, you spread yourself thin, you hardly achieve much. All great achievers learned one thing: to focus on one item until they become masters. Pick any name you know, they have mastered one thing because they immerse themselves intensely. If you tried to call me today, you'd have frustrated yourself. My phone was off. Why? I was focusing on what I'm going to tell you today. I was organizing my thoughts. And here's the deal. Whatever you focus on expands. The more you keep training like I'm doing, the more you become better in training. Whatever career you do, once you focus on it, the more you improve the skills. One way to help you to learn how to focus is to use a tool. There's a tool I use. What you need to do is to come up with a tool. For me, I use what we call the organizer. I write what I want to do every week, the weekend before. Here's my message for you. Plan each day the night before. Plan each week the weekend before. Don't make decisions at the heat of the emotion. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you have not already decided what you're going to do tomorrow, you are going to make decisions conveniently. If you are marketed, you can hear my voice, and then you realize suddenly on Monday there is heavy traffic and you wanted to see a client in industrial area. You're going to change and see another client in the neighborhood conveniently. And perhaps that was not the main customer. One way to help you to focus, write down what you want to do the night before. Anything that is not within your planner, whatever planner you use, I use the organizer. Don't do it. Practice until this becomes your new norm. And if you honestly believe it's an opportunity fronting itself and you don't want to lose it, then work closely with an accountability partner. So when an opportunity comes in the course of the day, which was not in the daily planner, then call your accountability partner and say, there is this thing that has come along my way. What do you think? Because most of the things that you want to do secretly end up becoming mistakes. The third mental faculty, perception. Perception. Perception is the mental faculty that forms our point of view. And it is shaped by our predispositions. Our predispositions are informed by our direct experiences and preferences, what we've gone through. Believe me, the only way to expand your perception is exposure. You see, you make judgments, you judge people, you form opinions about an individual or situations, you form opinions about a leader or about a certain business idea based on your direct experiences. And the only way to expand that is to be exposed, because you might be wrestling and fighting and conflicting with a great opportunity before you. Fight for exposure. All of you listening to me here tonight, there is one thing you have in common, many things, but one thing I want to mention tonight. All of you listening to me here tonight believe in the value of education. This is not anything I need to labor about. You wouldn't have come for my meeting if you didn't believe in learning. So the differential factor amongst your children will not be education, because every parent here, even those who are not parents yet, I know you will take your child to school. You will take your children to universities. That is not negotiable to anyone who came here. What will differentiate your child from the rest in their generation is one word: exposure. That's what gave Mark Zuckerberg leverage over all the other kids in the US, where education until Form 4 is free and compulsory. They call it grade 12. All kids there, and in the first world, all of them go to school. It's compulsory. But because this child was exposed to his area of interest when he was 12, they hired David Newman, a computer programmer. By the time he was 19, he was not playing computer games. He was already coming up with programs. Warren Buffett, on 4 occasions, has been regarded by Forbes magazine as the richest man on earth. He started investing in the stock market at the age of 11. By 19, he was already a serious investor. Many of you listening to me here have no clue where the stock market in Kenya is. I don't mean the physical sense. I mean you've never been there. You dread it. Why? It was introduced to you when you were old, and you fear this could be another pyramid. Exposure. The fourth mental faculty, memory. Memory. It is interesting how people say, I forget names, I forget faces, I forget appointments, I forget phone numbers. And a lot of people speak with a lot of pride, as though there's a reward for forgetting. Without realizing that the more you speak about it, the more you empower something that you don't like. By the way, if you honestly do not know your ID number offered, you'll need to look for a clinic after this, or even your bank account. In fact, come for special sessions to me. Seriously. And you can, each one of you here has a good memory. Don't say, I wish I had a better memory. All of you here. It's only that you don't flex your memory muscles. You flex your memory muscles the same way you flex your physical muscles. For example, if you want to do jogging and you have not done it for long, you run 200 meters, then 300 meters. then half a kilometer, then a kilometer, then 1.5. Eventually, you'll be able to do many routes. That's the same way you climb mountains. You try Kilimanjaro, which we require all our members to go through for the sake of keeping you fit. Then one day you'll join us to Elephant Hill. And maybe one day you'll climb Mount Kenya like I did in February. And maybe one day you'll join us, Mount Kilimanjaro. But you can't start with Mount Kilimanjaro before you do the little hills. Don't dare it until you do Kilimanjaro. Don't do Kilimanjaro before you do Kilimanjaro. That's the same way you flex your memory. You read a line, put it in your fingertips, internalize it, expand it to a paragraph, internalize it, make it part of your blood system. Then read a page, then another page. One day, you'll be able to have 1,000 pages on your fingertips like I do. Okay, doc, but I'm not a trainer, I'm not a speaker. Why do I need to enhance my memory? Let me tell you this. If you go to a mechanic who listens to your car engine and immediately tells you, we need to change, say, the gearbox, you trust that mechanic than the one who goes to refer to manuals. If you go to a doctor and at a glance from your symptoms, they can tell this is what we need to investigate, you trust them. But if you go to a medical doctor who immediately goes to his college books to check these symptoms are for what disease, you're going to be very scared about this character. Correct? If you go to buy spare parts of your car and you meet this shopkeeper who knows all the spare parts offered and the prices and tells you this is for that, you trust their advice. But if you meet a fellow who is always referring, what were you looking for? Okay, let me check. You're likely to doubt whether he knows what he's doing. Correct? That's the reason, irrespective of your career, irrespective of your profession, if you want to win and impress your clients, enhance your memory. Flex your memory muscles. Mental faculty number 5. We call it intuition. Now, every man should listen at this very carefully, because the average woman is doing far better than men in intuition. Men, this is an area you need a miracle. Intuition is what many people call the sixth sense. It's a message from the infinite, a spiritual prompting, a personal revelation. It is what made Archimedes to shout, "Eureka can," when he stepped into a bathtub and realized that the amount of water he displaced was equivalent to the volume of the part of the body that was submerged in the water. It is that epiphany that made Dr. Ben Carson to successfully separate twins conjoined in the head. You hone your intuition faculty by listening and being attentive to your gut feelings. Listening to that inner voice that says, "This is the way, walk ye in it." When we are in tune with our intuition, we can predict outcomes, make the right choices, and connect with the mind of God. Intuition is what makes us to pick frequencies and vibrations and identify like-minded individuals even when you meet them for the very first time. I say with a lot of humility, my intuition is so high. I can meet someone for 2 minutes for the very first time and tell you whether we can get into business or not. And I don't want to scare you away from meeting me, but I can meet you for 2 minutes and tell your level of intelligence. Please don't get scared. Don't get scared by this. But it is something you deliberately hone. You've got to be deliberate about this. It is what makes you to read between the lines and not just listen to what people are verbalizing, but listen to the body gestures, body movement, facial expressions. Listen to the tone of the voice, and you can tell a crook from someone who is telling you the truth. By the way, if you want to know whether intuition level is very low, check whether you have been conned by a pyramid scheme. Check whether you have invested the wrong place. You need to work on your intuition. If somebody made a presentation and suddenly you found yourself putting $1 million right there, don't get hurt. We are here for learning, isn't it? It tells you you need to enhance your antennae. You need to connect with the divine much more. Mental faculty number 6 and the last one. Imagination. Imagination. Thomas Edison never reached high school. He employed scientists and engineers, came up with many inventions, groundbreaking innovations, including the light bulbs we have tonight, air condenser line, among others. He once said, imagination is more powerful than education. I can trust such a man. You know, we took our kids to Disneyland last December in California. And I can tell you this. By the time we were living there, the kind of ideas they were sharing with me, I thought they were 10 years ahead of schedule. But what touched me the most is a man by the name of Walt Disney, who dreamt of doing what today has become a phenomenal art of creation. Way back, 1919. You know, this world is ruled by people who imagine. This world is ruled by idea people. Idea people rule the world. Idea people are the highest paid people. It's not the technical people. The more skilled you are, the more you remain at the technical level. The higher you imagine, the more you earn, the more your blood grows. Everything you see, including this meeting, was once an idea in someone's mind. Every piece of creation you have, that watch, that phone, was once an idea in someone's mind. Men and women who dared to dream, and then they pursued those dreams with singleness of heart. How do you hone your imagination? Go for a quiet place. Allow your mind to run wild. But remember, your ability to imagine is limited to your exposure. It's limited to your inputs. Remember what I told you. If all the things you have seen is car-fishy, your imagination cannot go beyond car-fishy. Oh, this takes me to our fourth lesson tonight. Evict might's quarters.